A house in one city made its owner $120,000 of equity in 10 years. The same house in another city lost $15,000. Same price, similar size, lot, floor plan, completely different outcome. The difference had nothing to do with timing or negotiation skills. It came down to 5 decisions or 5 mistakes that most buyers don't even realize they're making until it's too late. And I'm going to walk you through all 5. Let's start with the one that cost people the most money without them even knowing it. Chapter number 1, location fundamentals. Here's a question most buyers never ask. How is this purchase going to impact my net worth in the coming years? The national average for home appreciation is roughly 4% per year, but that's a national number. There's tremendous difference between local markets and property types. In Nashville, home prices went up 136% in the last decade. Why? Healthcare, tech, and other industries moved into the city. The population followed, demand outpaced supply, and prices exploded. Meanwhile, Northwest Arkansas had a similar outcome, same story, job growth. And then you've got places like Hawaii, beautiful, desirable, expensive, where condo prices actually dropped by 15% over the past 2 years. Same country, same national economy, but completely different results. So what separates the winners from the losers? 3 things: job growth, population growth, and constrained supply. If a city has major employers expanding like hospitals, tech companies, distribution centers, that creates jobs. Jobs attract people, people need housing, and prices rise. But if a city is losing employers or has weak schools or long commutes to employment centers, demand dries up. Here's a question to ask yourself. Is this neighborhood, city, and state a place that companies and people are moving to or moving out of? Population and employment growth are key drivers of future price appreciation. Now that you know how to evaluate a property's future appreciation potential, let's make sure you avoid the most common mistake buyers make when they begin their search. Chapter number 2, skipping pre-approval. Imagine walking into an auction and placing a bid without knowing your bidding limit. That's exactly what you're doing when you start house hunting without a mortgage pre-approval. A pre-approval is when a lender actually reviews your income, your debts, and your credit report, and then tells you how much they're willing to lend and at roughly what rate. This is different from a pre-qualification, which is unverified. In a competitive market, your offer will not be considered with a pre-qualification. The pre-approval does 3 things. First, it gives you a real budget, not what you think you can afford, but what the bank will actually lend you. That number might be higher than you expect or lower. Either way, you need to know before you fall in love with the house. Second, it tells you your monthly payment range, which is the number that actually matters. A $350,000 mortgage at 7% costs you more per month than a $400,000 mortgage at 5.5%. The price tag doesn't tell you the full story. The payment does. Third, and this is where it really pays off, it signals to sellers that you're a real buyer. In a competitive market, sellers may be looking at 5 or even 10 offers. A strong pre-approval letter demonstrates you're a serious buyer and you'll be able to close. Some first-time buyers skip this step because it feels like a hassle, or they're afraid of what they'll actually find out. But here's the thing. If there's a problem with your credit or your debt-to-income ratio, you want to know that now when you have time to fix it, not 2 weeks before closing when everything falls apart. Okay, so you've got your pre-approval, you know your budget. Now let's talk about what most buyers forget to budget for, the costs that show up after you own the house. Chapter number 3, underestimating maintenance. So quick math. If your home is worth $300,000 and you follow the standard guideline for setting aside 1% per year for maintenance and repairs, that's $3,000 a year or $250 a month, just to maintain what you already own. Most buyers don't even think about this number, and that creates a problem when the HVAC dies or the roof starts leaking. Let me give you the real replacement costs, actual numbers from 2025 data. An HVAC system costs around $7,500. An asphalt shingle roof averages $9,500 and depends on the size of your house and where you live. A hot water heater averages about $1,400. These are systems that every house has, and they all have lifespans. Your HVAC will last 15 to 20 years, your water heater 10 to 15 years, your roof maybe 20 to 30 years, depending on materials and climate. When you buy a 12-year-old house with the original water heater, you're buying a scheduled expense. That water heater is going to need replacing soon. The question is whether you've planned for it. So here's the mindset that separates first-time home buyers who struggle from those who don't. Plan for these expenses so they're not emergencies. Because if you don't have a maintenance reserve, every repair turns into a crisis, and you might have to put the expense on a high-interest credit card, or worse, delay the fix until it becomes a bigger problem. But if you've been setting aside $250 a month into a dedicated account, when the water heater goes, you just write the check and it's not a problem. So how do you actually do this? The easiest way is to open up a separate savings account, set up auto transfer for whatever amount you can manage, and pretend that money doesn't exist until something breaks. By doing this, you'll ensure that you're prepared. Now, let's make sure you don't make the mistake that can result in huge repair bills on day one. That brings us to mistake number 4. Chapter 4, skipping the inspection. A professional home inspection costs between $300 and $500. The national average is about $350. That $350 gives you a 2-hour examination of the roof, the foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, every major system in the house. And the inspector is looking for danger signs that are not obvious to the typical buyer. Things like signs of moisture intrusion, foundation cracks, electrical panels that are outdated or dangerous, or HVAC systems that are poorly maintained and near the end of their useful life. The inspection report doesn't just tell you what's wrong, it also gives you leverage. You can renegotiate the price. You can ask the seller to fix issues before closing, or you can walk away if the problems are too big. That means the $350 you spent isn't just buying information, it's buying options that are often worth thousands. But even if the inspection comes back clean with no major issues, it's still valuable because now you have a roadmap. The inspector will tell you the roof has maybe 10 years left, the HVAC is older but functional, the water heater was replaced recently. That's your maintenance forecast. You know what's coming and roughly when. This will help with budgeting we discussed in the last chapter. Okay, so far we've covered external factors like location, budgeting, inspections. Now let's talk about how to avoid the mistake of paying too much. Chapter number 5, letting emotions drive the purchase. You've been looking for months. You finally found a house you love. And then you hear there are 4 other offers. Suddenly, you're not thinking about monthly payments anymore. You're thinking about winning. You stretch your budget and you waive contingencies. And if you get the house, you might feel elated until you realize that you're paying more than you can comfortably afford, or you own a house with problems you didn't know about. So before you ever look at a single listing, you need 3 numbers written down. First, your maximum purchase price. Not the top of your pre-approval, this is the number that you're actually comfortable with. Second, your desired monthly payment range. Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. What can you pay every month without feeling squeezed? And 3, your minimum cash reserves after closing that we discussed in Chapter 3. Write those down. Treat them as non-negotiable because when you're standing in a house you love being told there are multiple offers, that's not the moment to decide what you can afford. Here's the thing. Buying a house is not a competition. The goal is not to win. The goal is to own a home you can keep comfortably while still making progress on everything else in your life. The right house is the one that fits your life and your finances without requiring you to abandon your own rules to get the keys. If this one doesn't work out, another one will. So those are the 5 mistakes, and let's tie it all together. The buyers who come out ahead aren't the ones who find the perfect houses. They're the ones who pick attractive locations with population and employment growth, get pre-approved first, budget for maintenance, get a home inspection, and set their numbers in stone in advance. For those of you who are serious about your home buying plans and are ready to take action, I can make an introduction to a top real estate agent in your target market. Feel free to schedule a strategy meeting. You'll find a link in the description. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share with others who might benefit. I release new videos for homebuyers every Friday at 5 p.m. I'll see you in the next one.